Hello, strangers. Wanna bring some Tavern music to your tin whistle? Good. This time, my hand took me into The Witcher 2, and today's trophy is a tavern on the riverbank from the Flotsam Tavern. It's full of ornaments, and it was really hard to decide which ones to keep in the final version to make them still easy to remember. To play along with the original, you'll need a sea whistle, but as always, grab any whistle you have if you're playing solo. Ready? Let's get started. The first section repeats the same note sequence twice. Yes, you'll get to play it again, lucky you. The difference between these two lines is in the ornaments. Every phrase in this tune starts with the 2 articulation, so you won't get lost. Just follow the beginning of each phrase. Let's hear the whole first section and then break it down. The first phrase is perfectly symmetrical. We start with 5 holes covered and jump up to the top note. That's how most phrases in this melody begin. Then, when you move down to the second hole, you'll meet the first ornament, a cut. Before dropping the finger, lift the very top one for a quick flick, then place it back down and follow with the second finger. Right after that, slide back up to the top note from the second hole and close the phrase with 5 holes covered. The second phrase also starts with 5 holes covered, but this time we jump even higher than before. There's a quick burst of 3 notes. Play that really fast, almost like a flick, and then let the next notes flow more smoothly with a slide into the top note from the second one. Next comes a fragment that's very similar to the very first phrase, but slightly extended. Here we do a cut on the top hole as we move down to close the second one, then drop 1 note lower and slide back up to the second. The fragment wraps up with all 5 holes covered. After that, we move up 2 notes, adding a cut on the third hole, and run down the scale with a bounce on the fourth hole using the same finger we usually cover it with. At the bottom, lift slightly and repeat the run, this time ending the phrase with a bounce on the fifth hole. And now let's listen both parts together. And at the very end, we repeat that run once more. Same bounces, but this time without the cut at the beginning. In the second line, all the notes repeat, but I like to add a bit of variety with different ornaments. In the first phrase here, I only use a slide without a cut. In the second phrase, I add a cut at the very end, not right away, but more like an echo after the note. There are also 2 ways to play the second phrase. If you want to match the original, you can hold the lowest note of the second octave a little longer instead of running through the quick alternation. but I personally enjoy keeping the alternation, so it's up to you which version feels better. The next phrase starts just like in the first line. But this time, as we climb to the third note, we hold it plain. The cut comes right before dropping into the fourth. At the end, there's another cut on the fourth hole while closing the fifth at the same time. And now let's listen both parts together. And our repeating phrase is also played with cuts instead of bounces here. Play it over and over until you've had enough, and when you're ready, let's move on to the second section. In the second section, only the first two phrases repeat with slight changes in ornaments. The rest move on differently. Let's listen. In the first phrase, we move very smoothly between the notes. After the usual opening, we gently drop to the third note, then slide back up into the second to make the motion feel even softer. The second phrase keeps that same flow, but at the end we add a bounce on the top note for a light contrast, like a small marker that the first half is closing. The next phrase again starts in the familiar way, but this time when dropping to the third note, we add a cut on the top one. From there, the next few notes are played a little sharper and quicker, leading down to the final note with a bounce on the third hole. And in the last phrase, we keep that quicker feel at the start, backing it up with a bounce on the third hole as we close 5. Then we smooth it again with a slide up by one note, and finally land back on 5 holes closed. This time adding a cut on the fourth hole for a nice rhythmic touch. In the second line, we play the first two phrases just the same as before, but this time I like to add a bounce on the third hole when dropping to the fourth at the very end of the first phrase. It's a small detail, but it keeps things varied. The final phrase of this section opens a bit differently, starting with 3 holes covered. Apart from that, the first fragment here is played the same way as the first phrase. We just add an extra cut here. Then comes a fragment you already know well. It's the one we used to close every line in the first section. The only change is in how we link them. Instead of using the to articulation, we move through a cut on the third hole. Then add a bounce on the fourth while descending, and finish with another cut on the fourth as we close all 5. With all these ornaments combined, I'm sure you can already guess what the final section will be like. So polish this one up, and then we'll head into the ending. And I promise no effort needed there, you've got it all already. So now the third section is super easy. It's exactly the same notes as the very first section of this melody. The only twist is that in the second part, we mix bounces and cuts, combining ornaments from both lines of the first section. No more words needed here, let's just hear it. That's our simple tune for today. I've left the link in the info box to the Fulton Whistle cover, so you can play along with me when you're ready. Share in the comments which ornaments you would like to add in this tune. There are tons of options. And let me know which melody you'd like me to break down next. If you enjoyed this tutorial, hit the like button and subscribe so you don't miss the new ones. And if you'd like to support my channel, there's my Patreon link in the description. I'm Ksenia, and I'll see you in the next videos.